Hi, Capricorn. Welcome to your end of March 2021 General Tarot Update. It's Raina here. So, a couple of astrological transits to let you know about. I have a whole March forecast already on my channel, but just to kind of reiterate or recap a couple of those big ones. One of them is the new moon in Pisces at 23 degrees, and this is in your third house of communication. This is good for launching websites and starting some kind of training or teaching program. So if you're one of those people who has created a course, that can be a great time because Mercury's out of its shadow. That's the day that Mercury comes out of its shadow, and we have all of the planets direct. And we have this, I haven't looked too much at April, but I think April is good. I was listening to another astrologer who was saying something about mid-May, and I'm like, oh, well, that works for me because it's nice to have a string of weeks where we feel this forward momentum because, even though I think January was a green light month, and then we had a Mercury retrograde at the very end of January. And February was a month where I think a lot of people were kind of taking it easy, or at least I didn't have, I had some snafus with the Mercury retrograde, and it just didn't feel like things were really moving forward. And now, because the other thing too is we're having the spring equinox, or if you're down under, autumn equinox, and that's on the 20th of the month. And for you, this is one of the cardinal signs, like you are, Cap, and this is going to be your fourth house of home and family. So that is the new cycle, and you're going to have a new moon here in April, but in March, the sun starts going into this area. And what else? At the end of the month, there's another cardinal full moon. Well, I meant to say moon, but specifically this one is going to be a full moon, and it's going to be at 8 degrees of Libra, and Libra is your 10th house of career, so that can be very good for some kind of promotion or just recognition for the work that you've done. You rule the 10th house, so that's your domain, if you will. Let's see what is happening astrologically. The first card I get is the Ace of Pentacles. What do you think that means? New beginnings with money and with, oh, I kind of went like that. Okay. Money and a job, a new job, and that kind of thing. Ooh, you got the Star card. So the two major arcana cards you got are the Wheel of Fortune and the Star card. Now, the Wheel of Fortune is in the challenge position, but still, it's still there. So let's bring out these two cards because they're both pentacles. Let's talk about the past position. The past position is the Five of Pentacles, which can be unemployment, money problems, or just simply a negative mindset in the form of what do they call it? Lack consciousness. So I think that this is something that some Capricorns do have to watch out for, because Capricorn can tend in and of itself to, as a sign, to be pessimistic because of Saturn. Saturn says, well, I've got to keep it real. I just have to be honest about this situation. And the thing about it is they always some people, not always Capricorns, just people who tend to be pessimistic, always talk about the worst case scenario, and they think that they're being practical about it by doing so. Realistic, that might be the best way of putting it. And there's a if you know who Osho was a spiritual teacher, and one of the things that he would say is, I think the quote was something like, be realistic, plan for a miracle, or something like that. He was a Sag, so he was a lot more grandiose and that Jupiter thinking, but something like that. And there are always two possibilities. There's always a possibility something will happen. Yeah, of course, some people are a little bit unrealistic, but maybe you're being small-minded, or just not like being happy with what you have and thinking that that's not good enough. So let's say you're employed, but you get a few hours cut or something like that, and you act like it's the end of the world. Or maybe you're just somebody who has, you have a new job, but it doesn't pay as much as your old job, but you can pay all your bills. And you're just thinking about, oh, but I had to take a cut in pay, or this new place, doesn't pay as much. I'm making 20% less or something like that. And meanwhile, not counting your blessings, or perhaps you have other things about the job that are really good. Like maybe you don't work as much and you get more time off. And there's always something that is probably good about what is happening, but perhaps you're just seeing what isn't there. The glass half empty, but I don't want to say a cliche. So the heart of the matter is the Ace of Pentacles, so that can indicate, you see the portal, that can indicate a new job, a new source of income. Maybe this is a business that you're creating, or, when I say business, I'm saying this kind of lightly, not some kind of a big structured thing. Maybe you're starting to make things and sell them. It could be as simple as that. And you don't even have a website. You just have a lot of people that have shown an interest in your, like, jewelry or tote bags or something, and that just is another avenue, and it could lead to something more. If it's a portal, maybe a windfall. Ace of Pentacles can be a windfall, so you can go from rags to riches, or at least this lack, or so unemployment to employment, not having enough money to having more than enough. So this could be the month where this happens. Remember that you have Jupiter and Saturn in Aquarius, Capricorn. This is the second house of earned income. So there's a lot going on. There was a lot going on in February. And this could be a significant area for you this year. I've already done a video on that if you're interested in exploring that further, so check out my channel. The higher message is the Knight of Cups. This is an offer of love, or some kind of, you can look at it that way. This is, like, to me, almost like a labor of love, but you're getting someone offering you something that, like I said, it might be a new job or a new source of income, but if you're coming from a lack consciousness, you have to be able to have that gratitude for it, or you might underplay it, or even not take them up on it. If this is relationship related, Ace of Pentacles can indicate a new relationship that may, or wanting a new relationship that has staying power, because the earth element is very steady. And the Five of Pentacles, as I recall, is connected in astrology to Mercury and Taurus. So we could just say, as somebody who is a Gemini with Taurus, or maybe Taurus with Gemini, the 5, I assume, is Mercury It's connected to Mercury, and therefore, or maybe like even Virgo. Yeah, that's a possibility. And it can be that this is a person in the past that was not the right fit, even if they happen to literally be an earth sign. Maybe they were too limited in their scope, and maybe too materialistic or negative or something like that. And the Knight of Cups can be more romantic. I don't think of Capricorn as a romantic sign. And if you don't think of yourself as a romantic person, then the Knight of Cups can be somebody who can complement, and that's with an E, not an I, your very pragmatic demeanor with something that is, bringing poetry into your life, bringing the arts, some kind of thing like, and you can, maybe they are an artist and they help you in this regard to see more of life than what you, how you spend your time. And maybe you even have these gifts that they're bringing out in you. So you might, I always say, you might meet them at an open mic or something, at singer-songwriter. I always say that about the Knight of Cups type of person. And believe me, there are, there are singer-songwriters who are Capricorns. So don't think that I don't know that. The card of that is crossing you, or I'm reading as a reversed or a challenge card, is the Wheel of Fortune. And I think that as a card, this is a card that's associated with Jupiter. This is about cycles in life. And so it is possible that you've been through the ringer, Capricorn. I know that some of you may have had even losses in your life because of Pluto being in transiting through the sign of Capricorn. That can certainly lead to radical change with Capricorns, but it comes at a bit of a price. It may, it's a transformation, but it's like it's like when they do a total, what do they call it, gut rehab versus just like a light remodeling. And you may have lost everything, or you may have, even if it wasn't financially losing everything, you might have lost a romantic partner. I mean, like a serious relationship, because another thing that has been happening up until the end of last year is there were eclipses in Capricorn and Cancer, or maybe mid-year. There were eclipses in your sign and Cancer. So that the Cancer was your seventh house. So you may have dealt with in some cases long-term relationship breaking up, but a committed relationship nonetheless, and that may have been devastating if you had hoped that it would last. So I get it, but you have to, this is where pessimism can keep you locked into that, where you feel like it's going to happen again. I know it. Instead of saying, okay, the worst is over, it's only up from here. And I've really learned, this particular lesson. And I think the ultimate lesson with the eclipses in the houses that they're hitting is how to not have a sense of clinging to any reality or any situation, but being able to accept that change is inevitable. And even if it's really unexpected change or unwanted change, that it's something that if you can just accept that, then you can travel very lightly through life. You're not going to be living in fear. And I really see that fear-based mentality with the Five of Pentacles, where you're kind of like maybe even afraid to love again, or afraid to If you've had a business that didn't work out, afraid to try again. What's coming in? Four of Cups. This is a card of being, unimpressed, not being enthusiastic about what is being offered to you, whether it's by another person or what you're dealing with. This is a card of dissatisfaction. But, I was reading in a book, as a matter of fact, let me get my Tarot Plain and Simple by Anthony Lewis book. I was reading, I don't know if it was in this one, but they were saying that it can mean a stable emotional situation. So it doesn't have to be all bad. But in this book, it must have been in another book, because of all of this. I mean, I'll just read you some of the keywords that they mentioned. The honeymoon is over, lack of motivation, looking within. Well, that can be good. Feeling fed up. Nobody understands me. I never promised you a rose garden. Anticlimax, distance, distraction, apathy. I think apathy is a good one. Now, it can be like rearranging the deck chairs on the Titanic sometimes. You get a new job and it still isn't enthusiastic. So with the Five of Pentacles, if you're motivated by a lack consciousness, even if it's not like really the case, you may be always looking for work based on how much money you're making, and not realizing that you have some other kind of soul gifts, maybe with the Knight of Cups, to give the world something else. And this is going to be very challenging for Capricorns to hear if they are on that track of, I have a master's degree, I have a bachelor's degree, whatever. I have to use it up by, getting a job that requires it or something like that, rather than thinking to yourself, I want to be happy. I want to be creative. I want to be fulfilled. I want to really feel it. I don't want to be mailing it in. I'm not saying that money is just completely worthless, but it's something that, it's like, for instance, for me, it has never been a motivating factor. I can't get enthused just based on that. And yet some people can, at least for a while, until they see the kind of, holding pattern that they're in. So this may be like you're in that holding pattern. You can't get enthused about a new job. You can't get enthused about your money situation because the Knight of Cups is beckoning you in some way. And it's interesting. And the same thing applies to love situations. Like, perhaps there is like a Knight of Cups person around you, and for some reason you don't see them as your type or the right one, and maybe you keep going after another type of person that the Ace of Pentacles represents, maybe a fellow earth sign, Taurus, Capricorn, Virgo, and it's not really, you're not really feeling it in the gut. You might respect that person and have a good time with that person, but you don't feel like they are necessarily the one. The outcome is the Star card. The Star card is connected to Aquarius, and I think this is kind of reiterating this area in your life where to me it's almost like you don't necessarily have to obsess about money, because you'll get what you need, because you have these planets, a benefic Jupiter here, which is like Santa Claus. And even though Saturn can seem like it's restrictive, it can be very stabilizing for your finances. and it can give you the desire to create more structure with your finances. So perhaps what the star card is saying is that you've got this at a higher level. Like, Esther Hicks or Abraham Hicks talks about vibrational escrow. Uh, that you already have your hopes and wishes, which the 11th house or Aquarius is all about, and these are your long range goals. All of the things that you want are already a reality, but they're in another vibration, and it's up to you to meet it halfway. You may be so much looking for proof in a worldly sense that you don't have that sense of faith, which the star card is about, faith in unseen forces, that it really is there for you. The star card can indicate that someone, a loved one who has crossed over, is trying to either send you messages or help you to achieve your goals. So anyway, maybe this is a love interest too. I hope that you enjoyed this, Capricorn. If you would like a private reading, I am primarily an astrologer, and I do most of my readings using your natal chart, which I find to be very helpful in, kind of getting to know you at that level. So please click on the link below for more information about my different types of readings. I hope you have a great rest of March. I think it's going to really pick up as we progress. Take care. Bye.